Hi guys, and welcome to my channel, Changing Phases Tarot. So happy to have you here with me today. Now today's reading will be a weekly reading looking at the energies surrounding us during the week of March 5th through March 11th, 2018. For the reading, I'll be using the Good Tarot deck. Okay, I'm pulling 3 cards from the deck plus 1 additional card from the bottom of the deck for the overall energy for the week. This deck's by Colette Baron-Reid. And 1 additional oracle card from the Soul's Journey lesson cards by James von Praagh. As I always say, these are general readings. Please keep that in mind. The messages may or may not resonate with you. The only way for you to get a truly personalized reading, focusing on you and what's going on in your life right now, will be to order a private reading from me. And if you're interested, you could take a look at my site, changingphasestarot.weebly.com. There you will find pricing as well as the types of readings that I offer, or you can email me at changingphasestarot@gmail.com. Right, so let me lower the camera. I've already shuffled off camera, really just to try to save a little bit of time. I'm nearly finished with the monthlies for March, so I'm sort of halfway through those. I will have the rest of them out hopefully by tomorrow, so be looking out for those. So we have, in the past position, Major Arcana, number 13, Transformation. So this is the energy, as we leave the previous week, heading into this new week. In the present position, we have the Two of Water. This would be the Two of Cups in the traditional tarot. And in the future position, so the energy as we leave the week, heading into the following week, we have another Major Arcana number 11, Justice. And the card that was at the bottom of the deck, the overall energy for the week is the Messenger of Air. So this would be the Page of Swords. And the Soul's Journey card is Surrender. I can release my need to control. And I will read the full meaning for the card after I go through the reading. Okay, so beginning with this Messenger of Air energy. So again, this is the overall energy for the week. Well, the Suit of Air, so we have 2 Major Arcanas, 1 Cups card, and 1 Air. The Suit of Air has to do with our thoughts. So it's, it's mental energy, it's cerebral energy. It's how we communicate with others, right? It's where we set our intentions, remembering that as you think, so you become, right? So it's important to keep our thoughts positive, right? When we plant positive thoughts, plant those positive seeds, we can hope for positive results, right? If we plant negative seeds, it's very difficult to get a positive result out of, planting negative seeds. So the Messenger of Air, I'm sorry, I think I might have said it's the, I think I said it was the Page. It's not. It's in this deck, it's the Knight of Air. Sorry for that. There is actually a page, I was just thinking, there is a Page of Air, which is before the Messenger, but I usually associate messages with the Page. That's why I said Messenger. But anyway, it's not. This is the Knight of Air. Okay, so once again, Messenger of Air or Knight of Air. This Good Tarot deck, it has a few different names for the cards and a few different meanings, but in general, it is just a normal tarot deck. So the Messenger of Air or the Knight of Air, the Knight of Swords, right? This is a very fast-paced energy. Okay, so for some of you, there could be, fast-paced news coming in this week. This could be an actual person that you're dealing with, right? When we have court cards in a reading like this, they can be people that we are actually dealing with during this week. If so, this would generally be a middle-aged air sign individual, so either Gemini or Libra or Aquarius, not gender specific, male or female. But I usually tend to view the nights as, as events, as situations. So for many of you, there could be just news coming in, right? And it's very fast paced because the Knight of Air is the fastest One of the fastest, like the Knight of Air and the Knight of Fire, of Wands, they're very fast-paced energies. So there could be news coming in, right? You finding out about things quite quickly during this week. And we do have, this transformation card here and the Justice card on the other side. So there could be, for some of you, there could be some news coming in. It could be from the government. It could be from, the legal system. Maybe you've been dealing with, a court case, some type of legal proceedings. There could be news coming in regarding that, and it's favorable news. It might come in quite quickly here. For others, this could just be, news coming in. Doesn't necessarily have to do with, the court system. This could just be some news that's going to bring about quite a significant change this week. And again, this is only a weekly reading. Usually this Knight of Swords, it's kind of an aggressive energy. Usually, sometimes, on the negative side, the Knight of Swords can be a little bit overbearing. Slightly too aggressive, but it's very, it's forward movement, it's fast paced. Usually he has his sword drawn, ready for action, even though there isn't really any, battle in sight. This person is usually, ready to kind of take on whatever might be coming in. He's also, it could have to do with a way of thinking, right? Maybe for some of you, there might be some news coming in that is going to transform the way that you think about a certain matter. For others, there might be a situation that's going to require your, a quick action, swift action on your part, swift response. It might be you needing to broaden your perspective, your horizon, right? See things possibly from a different point of view. In dealing with a situation, especially as we have, this transformation and the Justice card here, for some of you, this could be you reevaluating or looking at a new situation, but, changing the way that you kind of face that situation, not wanting to face it or handle the situation or do things the same way that you always have done. Maybe, I can't remember is that expression, like if you keep doing things the same way, you can't expect a different outcome or something like that. So possibly changing, the way that you think, the way that you behave, adapting to a new way of behaving or thinking. But, definitely swift action, something quick coming in here is the overall energy. Now, in the past position, this transformation card, this is card number 13, and it would be the Death card in the traditional tarot, okay? I like the way that it's portrayed in this particular deck because instead of focusing or sort of representing death, what it actually represents is we have, sorry for the glare, this beautiful phoenix. So it's the phoenix rising from the ashes. So for some of you, if there was, if you have dealt with a difficult situation in the past, there's big change, there's big transformation. You are arising from the ashes. You are this phoenix, right, being reborn, and it has to do with these cycles, cycles of death and rebirth and change. So, there could have been a significant change going back to last week, even back to last month. A significant change might have happened quite quickly. But you're transitioning, and you realize that this change came about for your highest good. So it's all about you, releasing, letting go the past, letting go of old ways of thinking, letting go of going back to the, not doing things the same way that you always have, letting go of that, and embracing this new beginning. Now, what we have in the, sort of sandwiched between the two major arcana cards is this Two of Cups. So the Two of Cups has to do with, this is water energy, so we usually associate it with our emotions, our feelings, our relationships, how our feelings kind of move us through life, the way that they push us through, the way that we interact with others, how we influence others, how others influence us. It's all about feelings. It also has to do with intuition, right? The suit of water also has to do with using our intuition, listening to our intuition when we're making certain decisions. But the Two of Water itself has to do with partnerships. Now, if we think of it outside of the romantic sense, this could be, a partnering up with somebody else. Usually it has to do with, a kind of a deep connection, a solid relationship, deep relationship with another person. It can be in the work sector. It can be a friendship as well. Most of the time we associate the Two of Water with, a more romantic relationship, just because it's really the minor arcana version of the Lover's card. So it has to do with, that deep soul connection. It's the soulmate card, soul connection with another individual. So for some of you, this transformation news coming in, it could have to do with another person, right? There could be a relationship that's sort of at the center of this change, this, new cycle, this death, leaving things behind, moving on to new things. Sometimes, this death card, it can be, transitioning out of one chapter of your life into another. So it could be, moving from being single into, a more, like a more serious relationship with somebody, taking that relationship to the next level. For some of you, it could definitely be that, because we do have the Justice card over here in the, in the future position. And the Justice card, it can speak of many different things, but, we usually associate it with, like large institutions. It can be like the legal system, courts, can be a judge, a lawyer. It can have to do with, also karmic justice, balance, things being like the scales of justice being righted, if things have been weighted unfairly, if somebody has treated you unfairly, it's sort of the scales righting themselves and things, somebody getting what they deserve. But it can also be, actually like the justice of the peace, and especially with the Two of Water here, and then the ending one relationship. For some of you, this could be, going to the justice of the peace, getting married. There could be, for others of you, it could be a cause and effect, like the, we do associate the Justice card with cause and effect, with karma, with, maybe it seemed like, somebody wronged you, and and nothing ever happened to them. Now the scales of justice are, tipping in sort of your favor and going against them, so they will get what they deserve. And it all has to do with divine timing, right? This is, and especially with two major arcana cards out of the four, I mean, lots of divine timing, lots of divine intervention, divinely guided events going on here. Possibly, a news of this or things happening quite quickly. Seeing if I was getting any other messages here. Oh, that's interesting. I just noticed that it's interesting that her sword, like the sword of justice, usually it's just kind of, it's like very shiny, and like gleaming. But here it almost looks like it's on fire. And we also have the phoenix on the other side, on fire and rising from the ashes. So I don't know, for some of you, you might be forging new relationships here. I keep coming back to the Two of Water. I think for a lot of you, it could be deepening a relationship, taking a relationship to the next level. I mean, for some people, this transformation could be, again, it could be an ending that has to do with this Two of Water. And then with the Justice card, it could go the other way with, you getting out of a marriage or a relationship. But I feel as though it's more that, it's coming this way, that it's, it's things changing with this person, and then, getting married possibly, or, could be getting divorced, news of that, or news that has to do with that, I would say. For some of you, the Justice card, and especially with this, the Knight of Air and the Justice card here, this could have to do with weighing, and we have the Two of Water here. It could be weighing up a decision, weighing up two sides to a particular situation, needing to make a decision on that, and in which case you need to keep a balanced mind, consider everything fairly. Don't make a decision based on, some type of biased opinion. No, just weigh everything up very fairly, especially with this Messenger of Air, which is all about, thoughts and intellect. And remember, like I said, on the negative side can be a little bit aggressive. So, make sure that any decision that you have to make, whatever that might be, make sure that you are doing so from a more enlightened position or place. You really do consider everything. And as far as the transformation, another message coming through is that with change, because this is a, obviously transformation, the phoenix, the rising from the ashes, if we look at it, from that point of view, then it's impossible to resist change, and especially with the major arcanas, it's all about how we accept it, how we react to this transformation or the change. And it's all about surrender, it's surrendering to, which is why I thought it was interesting that the surrender card came out, because, it's much like the Hangman card. When that comes out, it speaks of surrendering to the situation, divine timing for things to happen, and change is inevitable, and so instead of fighting against change, it's all about how we embrace the change and rise from the ashes, and become even better versions of ourselves after that. So let me go ahead and take a look at this surrender card. I like to read the full description for the oracle cards, and this card says, let me find it. Give me 1 second. Surrender. Here we go. I found it. It says, you need to understand the distinction between power and control. You have the power of internal control, but very little external control over people or situations. The majority of your external control is through the power of influence. You can lead by example. Every soul has its own unique path, and it is not your job to dictate it. Giving advice or direction in a compassionate manner is the way to go. Your soul too has a path, and you possess the strength to control it. But you must surrender the illusion that you have control over another. Remember that this is a process, and from time to time your ego will rise up and demand that things be the way they should be. Envision a hot air balloon being loaded up with all of the things you can think you need to control, and let them ride away in the balloon. You'll be surprised to find that when you release the energy of control and accept the energy of surrender, doors will open that you never expected, because you now have given the universe space in which to materialize what is needed for your highest soul growth. Interesting. It's an interesting message that came through with this surrender card here to tie in with the other messages, but definitely, significant changes, things coming about quite quickly, and a lot of karmic energy, right? Divine timing, divine guidance. Powerful reading just for the weekly reading. So thank you again for joining me. I do hope that the messages have helped you in some way. I look forward to reading for you again, and just know that I'm sending you all much peace, love, and light for a wonderful week. Bye for now.